The thing that I like most about being a dad is that I see that I'm about to impact the world. What's up? It's your boy Humble Dad back with another edition of Humble Dad Podcast. We got a good one tonight. Why? Because I said so. We're gonna be talking about to twerk or not to twerk, and if you haven't already seen it, go check it out. You have DJ Haddon, his wife is twerking on it, and it seems to be a big uproar in these streets. But we're gonna talk to the panel, see what their thought process is. But before we get started, we're gonna be asking the icebreaker question, which is, what interesting skill do you want to learn? What interesting skill do you want to learn? And we're going to start with the one that was out, but is back. Miss Dear, how you just going to go to, what are you doing? What are you doing, Miss Dear? What is that about? You're on mute.
I did the Dwayne, I'm sorry.
You did?
Hey.
All right. You got the question?
Yeah, I got it. I said the most interesting skill that I want to learn is, so I went to carpentry school. However, we lost our instructor before we actually got to build the house from scratch. Oh, wow. So that's what I want to do. I learned how to do blueprints, renderings, but I want to learn how to build a house from scratch.
That's what's up. Do you know any parts of how to start it?
Well, I know the 16 on center, 16 off center for the framing and things like that. I know about the concrete and the as far as the rebar under the ground, that type of, I mean, now you could build from just concrete. So I know, so I'll figure it out if I had to, but I would really want to know, like, through tutelage, like learn from a professional rather than figuring it out. If I needed some stone and clay, I'm gonna make it happen. But I want to learn how to do it like the traditional way.
That's what's up. Hey, we're gonna welcome to the stage an old friend. I'm glad she's back. The Wife Podcast. Oh, the Wife School Podcast. How you doing now?
How you guys doing?
Doing well. I've been watching you. You've been pretty consistent. That's good stuff.
I can always be better.
Well, that's true, but you're being consistent, so that's what's up. Okay. You got the question?
Yep. One skill I would really like to learn, and I've just been trying at it again, is sales. Because I can tell a story, I can formulate everything, but I want to be able to translate that into actual customers and, being able to relay that to people so they can be like, wow, I really would like to, buy from this lady. She's cool. So I think that would be interesting, just sales, because you would never, be hungry to me.
That's what's up. So learn how to sell and you'll never be hungry. Yeah, I did sales for about almost 20 years. So I was a sales manager for about 10 or 11. So yeah. I know what you mean. It's a very good skill set. And so we're going to bring next to the stage the youngster, never had nothing to say. But let's see what he say today. Mr. Prototype.
I'm glad you called me the youngster.
I try to give you a compliment at least once.
Oh man, there's so many, man. I just jumped in this podcast space, so learning how to market this a little bit better. Definitely a skill I would like to learn. Speaking Mandarin, I kind of attacked that a few years ago, but I want to pick that back up. Golf, I want to get way better at golf. I just know how to drive the ball. My putt game is trash. I mean, we could go on and on things I need to learn. So I really don't have an answer.
You just gave us 3, but I see what you did there. All right, man. Hey, welcome to the stage, my family. You know what I'm saying? More than a friend. Mr. Uncle Rick. What it do?
What's happening? Y'all know who it is.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is...
What's good?
What's going on?
The question...
What's the skill set that you would like to learn?
Oh, man. As crazy as it is, I would like to learn how to make clothes from scratch, like suits and women's dresses, because if you can do that and make it better than anybody else, I think no one can stop you from making money. Right. So like if you could, a black designer making bespoke clothes for black men, I think that would be dope.
Yeah, that is dope. I think I had to piggyback off of that because as I'm shopping for the wedding on June 1st, big ups to me, right? And my lady Kendra. I'm going around. I'm trying to find these different. I'm trying to find a cream shirt, ivory shirt, bro. Can't find now nowhere. You know, I would have to like literally look through Amazon to try to figure out if one is out there, and then trying to find a men's store. It's not that many. It's not that many. So my thought process was like designing things for men.
Maybe you guys are calling me out. I have a fashion design degree,
Mm,
and I like menswear.
that's
We
what's
need
up.
you.
See, I got my
Hey,
clothes, all that.
hey,
Especially-
you should be trying to sell.
I know that exactly.
And you need to cater to the athletic body too.
Yes.
I really
That's-
can't find nothing to wear.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
You
I know
athletic,
you guys
bro?
are calling me out. See, I got too many skills. That's a a thing. That's a blessing, though.
Yes, what's up. Yeah, my mom and my aunt Susan, they making my suit.
That's dope.
Yeah, so I went to go. My last fit was yesterday, so they made it's a 3-piece suit. So it's gonna be pretty dope. So that's the thing that I think that needs to be done more is making men's clothing. You know, so all right, so here we go. We're gonna get it started. You know what I'm saying? And people come on. Oh, here he goes, Mr. Dwayne Jones.
All right, mute, unmute.
You
All
did
right.
it. Okay,
How y'all doing?
good. Can you turn your mic up a little bit?
Yes, sir. How's that?
It's a little better.
Plot thickens. Let me. Oh, okay. All right. How about now?
That's way better.
Already.
I'm just saying that's what mic check is for, but you know, whatever.
You know, it's complicated.
I understand.
It's complicated.
I understand.
So, interesting skill. Well, one would be being on time, but I digress. I'll go on to the next one. The next one would be learning multiple languages. I would not just bilingual, but like 4 or 5.
So you want to be like Pentecost?
Repeat that again.
You want to be like at the Pentecost?
See, look, he talking about speaking in tongues. Boy, I tell you.
Forgive me, man. I'm in my giddy bag today. Okay, so my bad.
Well done.
Sure. All right, so we're gonna get started, man. I think this is gonna be an interesting conversation because I want to start here, right? Let me get my questions right. Let's see. I want to know, what do you know? What do you know about twerking? What do you know about twerking? What's your thought? Not necessarily what your thought process is, but what do you know about twerking? Let me get that here. All right, and we'll start with the ladies. Dia, what do you know about twerking?
I know that in marriage is totally acceptable, but maybe not socially acceptable in a social setting is what I would say. It's a dance that I don't know. It's a
Hey,
dance.
you can keep it as simple as you want to. You know
That's
what I'm saying?
it.
There ain't no pressure.
Okay, that's it. It's a
Okay.
dance. That's
All right. Okay, that's a dance. Okay. You know you gotta say who's next.
wife school, since you said the ladies.
Well, what I've observed from twerking to be is just the gyrating of the hips, and it doesn't necessarily have to be on a male. It can be with a group of girls. It can be by yourself, and it usually has like a sexual suggestion to it, to the woman's behind. But yeah, just a dance move that I think a lot of people just run to. It's popular when the beat drops.
All right. Who you got going next?
I would like to call on Mr. Rilla.
Ah, look at you. Okay.
Gorilla.
What up,
Coachella.
family?
The
I
gorilla.
knew it was gonna go there. Listen, man. I always talk about how I've been in Atlanta for 20 years or whatever. So I can give a whole dissertation on twerking, right?
Is it
But
because you was doing it? You saw it.
good
Not the
one,
special skill. Not the
good
special
one,
skill.
good one. HD, you finally got one in, man. I'm gonna let you have that one, man. I'm gonna let you have that one. No, it's because I witnessed the last Freaknik and I saw all the twerking. So at the end of the day, it's down south pee popping is what they call it down south. It's pee popping, and in the 2000s they reinvent. Well, the strippers started calling it twerking, and then you had them with some little girls come out the twerk team, and they went viral and yada yada yada. But it's pee popping. It's a dance, sexually suggestive dancing.
Okay. Who you got going next?
Man, let's check and see if Dwayne mic on.
Oh, my mic is on. From what I've heard, if you drop it, you got to pick it up. No, yeah, it's a sexually suggestive dance. I'd consider it that.
Okay.
You
Who
can't
you
be
got going?
twerking in church. Come on, Ricky, what you got?
Well, twerking started back as a ceremonial dance in Africa in the 18th. Get the fuck out. Look, man. Twerking is simulating a girl bouncing on a dick. She can bounce on the dick standing up. She can bounce on a dick squatting down. She can bounce on the dick cowgirl style. That's what twerking represents. I love that y'all so much better than me. You distinguished Negro people. Y'all just the creme de la creme, boy. Just I'm so proud. That's what twerking is, man. Stop, bro.
This was what you got, prototype?
Man, since I'm the youngest, right? Twerking has been the thing that's kind of guided me to go to every party I ever gone to. You know? the seeing it live, right? It's a motivator. I tell you this, twerking got me to college. The idea that once I go to college and get to see that spring break, you understand what I'm saying? Them frat parties, you know what I mean? The whole idea of the ladies twerking got me through a lot of hard times, you know what I'm saying? So, hey, I'm a fan. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. Okay. So you say that you're a fan. Why are you a fan? Why would you consider yourself a fan?
I mean, Rick explained it, right? It's the suggestive fantasy. You know, she's selling me the fantasy of what she could do to me in the bedroom. You know what I'm saying? So I see that all day.
Okay. I got you. So then if that's the case, then you say you can see that all day. When is it appropriate? I think Dia kind of started it. When would it be appropriate to see twerking? And you can pick who goes next, prototype.
At all times, I want to see it at the basketball games. I want to see it at the football games. You know what I'm saying? That's why you go to HBCUs. I want to see it everywhere. I want to see it walking down the street. I want to see it with my coffee in the morning. I want to see it before I go to bed. You understand what I'm saying? It is always appropriate to see a good twerk. You know what I mean? After that, we're gonna go with the distinguished gentleman, the believer, Dwayne, because he's Jamaican and all. So I don't want him to cap for real.
Oh man. It's tough. It's a battle. When is it okay? Well, for me, only from my wife. I gotta say that. I struggle even with damn yoga pants. Accidentally twerking, just walking down. Yes, I struggle with it, right? So I consciously have to be like, put my phone up. Like, yes, so only from the wife. I have to hold my mind captive because next thing I know, mine gonna be creeping. So yes, I gotta actually actively keep my mind captive. Chicago, what you got?
Man, man, I'm gonna sound like a prude. I'm old now, man. I'm burnt out, bro. HBCU halftime performance, right? Strip club. I got BT Uncut. You know, that's an appropriate time. If you had a club that caters to that type of stuff, maybe that's a good time to see it. Can I say why I don't want to see it? No, I'm gonna say that.
Yeah, say that, bro.
I'm gonna save it.
Just answer the question.
I'm answering the question. HD, this your week, man. I'm finna let you empty the clip, bro. I'm gonna let you empty the clip. You got it tonight, bro. Yeah, but I think if there's a festive environment, if you're in New Orleans, you see that second line coming down Canal Street, man, you better get out the way and let them girls do what they do, man. If they finna bounce, you better let them bounce. Get out their way and let them do what they do. But Slick Rick, what you got on it, man?
I only want to see it when we naked in the light or the dark. You know what I'm saying? Otherwise, it's a waste of time. To me, it's like strippers. Strippers a waste of money. You know what I'm saying? I want to see it when you got ass. I don't want to see no bony ass girl trying to shake her back, break her goddamn spinal cord. You know what I'm saying? Thinking you doing something. Get your skinny. Go eat something. Go eat. That's what you should be doing. Nah, I just think it's just inappropriate to me. Like I'm like a gorilla. Me and him, that's my guy. You know what I'm saying? I'm an old cat now. I'm the OG. You know what I'm saying? It's not necessary, bro. Like my personal opinion at this time, there's no mystery anymore. Right? When we was young, a girl would dress a certain way, so you had to, man, she look good in that, put that blouse. Man, she look good in them pants. Now it's not. And I don't know why ladies do it. I mean, most of them can't ride for more than 3 minutes anyway. Facts. You know what I'm saying? So I think say something for your man. That's the whole thing. Like, especially wasn't y'all supposed to have first with y'all man? Right? You like it's I think it's played out, honestly, in my personal opinion. I think it's totally played out. I think it's tacky. I think it's not attractive. Like when I see it, like in Hawaii, you see these chicks, I just turn my it's nothing to figure out. You know what I'm saying? So that's just where I'm at with it. Proto, where you at with it? Or you went already? Let's go with my sis Dia up there then.
I would say if you into it, do you? However, I agree with Ricky that it is a time for everything, but that's contingent on the lady if she considers herself a lady. I think a lady of substance wouldn't participate in a public arena unless it's intimate, maybe with small family, something larger, maybe no. I don't know. It depends on how intoxicated she might be. As far as when it's inappropriate to me, I could care less, what other people do. I just won't give it my attention if it's out in public. I mean, I might think some things in my head, but I don't care. Do you? If that's what you into? So it doesn't bother.
But if you didn't care, then why would you say anything in your head?
I mean, in my head, it depends on who it is. I might be judging the person depending on the age, I think it's inappropriate for kids. I mean, anybody
for kids to see it or do it
for kids to see it.
Okay.
Yes, and to do it.
Okay.
However, an adult woman, that's her choice. I mean, I personally wouldn't, but I consider myself a woman of substance. So, to each his own, though. Like,
they don't like to hold nobody accountable.
Go ahead, wife school. I digress.
It's gonna be on.
Well, as a person that doesn't know how to dance, I just think that our women just gravitate to it too much, like the go-to, I don't know. And it's just something to see. You're like, okay, you really like this song. And okay, you can you're singing it, you get into it. The next thing I know, I just see some stuff just flying around back there. You're like, oh my God. And it just gets out of control, and it really just changes the demeanor of how I view the young women, the ladies and stuff. So it just changes how you look at that person. Like you said, it's a differentiation between, being a person that's decent and then indecent. And it's just funny how just the beat drop can just bring you from civility to, popping. And I don't know, when you, like you said, there's the cookouts, people are dancing, then there's weddings, and there's, people are in the club, it's dark, can't really see what's going on. And I guess those may be the places to do that in your home, but not where everybody, can see it, especially around like children, because they're going to pick it up. And then next thing you know, people recording the kids like, oh, look at them, thinking it's cute, but it's really not.
I could tell who didn't listen to like Miami Bass or have Slick Rick. You remember the box? They used to have that hey little mama, why you dance so funky? With that funky Watusi. They was them the kids was popping in the video. Them little kids be popping. They still popping.
Yeah, I remember that myself. I remember that. The so you all kind of reference it to women. What's your thoughts on guys twerking?
They're not eligible or compatible.
You gotta give me an example, like Usher or Chris Brown twerking or something.
Anyone? Those are dudes.
They're usually joking when they're like twerking. They're not.
What dudes is twerking?
Like I'm saying,
Well,
like they do, but it's like a joke. It's not like.
I think
I don't
women's
see
in
guys
it.
doing.
It has to be. I gotta Google this.
You gotta be.
Do they twerk in Jamaica? They don't twerk in Jamaica. They dirty wine, right? Dutch wine.
Man, they wrestle in Jamaica. They wrestle on the dance floor off the top.
Oh yeah. You right. I have seen them do that.
Okay.
Yeah, you
so
right.
then you all are saying that sounds like that women are doing this for either attention or validation. Is that what you're kind of alluding to?
I think it's more like a second nature. It's not. It just happens. It like you literally are watching them. They're like, oh, the next thing you know, as Dwayne said, they dropping it.
They've been
right.
trained to do that.
It just goes like automatically, like putting on your shoes or something.
You go back 30 years. Women, when they would dance, I mean, there's a couple of dances they would do, but especially when I was coming up, you had the Cabbage Patch, you had the Reebok, you had the Mike Tyson, you had the Nintendo. These were like dance moves that you would do. You know what I'm saying? Now women might roll a body or something like that, but they wasn't quick to, throw their booty around like that. Like, so now what I'm saying is
Doing the butt.
That's only when that song came on. If you heard Go Go.
Exactly.
You wasn't doing the butt off every song. You could only do the butt off Go Go or when that song came on.
Now every song is doing the butt.
What about when Luke, most of all of Luke's songs was?
So that's P-popping though, right? So that's what I'm saying with Miami Bass. When you get Miami Bass, Atlanta Bass, when you get that coming into play, that's a different thing. But it still wasn't instinctive. Like if somebody up north heard that, it wasn't instinctive for them to just start P-popping, right? Mm-hmm. But now, to what Wife School is saying, her point is everybody you could throw on Cardi B and girls just, that's my song. And then next thing, booty up in the air, And I wasn't a pushback. It was more or less just saying they're socially engineered to do that now. They wasn't doing that 30, 40 years ago. They was actually dancing. Like it was females that could actually dance. That's why when Ciara came out, the way she was dancing, it was almost like an anomaly. It was like the second coming of Aaliyah. The way she was dancing, people actually admired the way she could dance.
And to me back then, it was like if you did go rub up and grind on a girl, it was because she liked you and wanted to hook, But now with girls every day, it don't matter. You could be an ugly dude, the dude she ain't gonna take home, the dude she don't like, the dude she don't know. You know what I'm saying? Some dude who just popped in the club, the dude with some money, to do without no money. As long as you dress nice, it don't matter. They twerking on you. They throwing their ass on you no matter what.
They throwing it on each other.
Exactly.
And they like, ooh, and they hit it too. Okay, let's not get into that. They don't need no man, right?
Interesting. Okay, so so we kind of got the groundwork down for what twerking is and where it should be done, and so we talk about these things, but we never necessarily address them with individuals. So we're gonna transition over into the forum. We're gonna kind of bind these two, not bind, but we're gonna connect these two together, right? So pin that down, and then the next question that we're gonna have is, what's your perception of Christianity? What's your perception of Christianity? We're going to ask some interesting questions this evening. Or what should I say? What formed your, this is what it was. What formed your perception of Christianity? So for me, I'll give an example. So for me, I grew up in the church. However, how my perception was definitely different once I got to college. Me growing up in the church, I had to go to church every Sunday. That was a mandatory. And on Sundays, that's when we really listened to gospel music. And then not necessarily reading the Bible or anything like that, just going to church. And then whatever I saw at church is what was okay. And then when I got home, then there wasn't anything beyond that. So that became my reality, my perception of what Christianity was. But then when I went to college, there was people that was actually like reading a Bible. That was a thing, you know what I'm saying? And so my perception changed, right? So what formed your perception of Christianity? And I'm gonna put all this together later, okay? And I know it was a question that was asked before, so to some degree, but we'll start with Dwayne.
For me, the Bible shapes my perception of Christianity. I know. And next, keep it real
What you got
simple.
next, bro?
Let's go with Ricky. Come on with it.
Christianity?
Yeah, not
What would-
necessarily not necessarily saying anybody's a Christian, but what form your idea of what Christianity is supposed to be?
What form our perception is the how can I say this? The contradictions. The contradictions of the Bible and the teachings is what form my perception of Christianity. To me, Christianity is the female. It's like the feminine aspect of men. In the Old Testament, God was all law. He was law. He was fire and brimstone. Right? What did it say in the Bible? For the Lord to show you love me, follow my laws, correct? Right? And then Jesus came and said, F all that, and gave you the total opposite of what the Lord said. God represents the masculine. Jesus represents the feminine. That's what formed my opinion of Christianity.
So, who you got going next?
Dia.
I would say what formed my perception of Christianity would probably be my family when I was growing up, particularly women. I mean, I didn't come from a church background. Like nobody in my family attended church, but older women that my aunts that I was raised around used to be around that used to go to church. So gossiping, nosy, hypocritical women formed my perception of what Christianity was originally. And it just swayed my thought process as far as participating in religion initially. So I'll leave it there because it's really deep. But that's what formed my perception. So I'll go with wife school.
What sorry, for my perception of Christianity was the church I attended. I know a lot of people, they don't have effective ministries, powerful ministries that incite change, that actually hold you accountable, but I actually grew up in one. And it definitely formed my perception that God is real and you can go out there and do what you want to do. He does give you your free will. He loves you, but know that his word is true. He will judge you according to his word. And so whether you realize that by messing up and then you like running back to God, like try to fix this and stuff like that, I seen that God is real. But, there's his limitations and his grace. So it's a point where our parents raise us to try to instruct us and instill good in us and instill moral values within, their children. So that's what I got. But as people have said, when they get into real life, that's when you apply what you've learned. So you have your free choice to do what you want. My perception is that I applied those principles. Not everybody can do that. Not everybody can walk a certain way. Not everybody can, live a life of principle because it's so hard. And leaning to what Uncle Rick said, that's where Jesus comes in. That's where grace comes in, because we're not perfect. So you do need that aspect of God's grace. So I've experienced God's grace. I experienced God's power. I experienced God's judgment. And that's what shaped my perception, not no man, actually my experience with God.
That's what's up. Who you got going next?
I would like to choose Mr. Prototype. Could you go?
No, I ain't went yet, but I'm kind of with Dwayne on that, right? So like when I took my time and read the Bible for myself from front to back, that gave me my perception of what it is to be a believer. I mean, I know there's a lot of different hippity hoopah, and you know what I mean, and people are like following pastors or following, people who are, they think that's the identity, or people who have been hurt by different people in the church, so that's what they take on. But it's whatever that Bible say is what the perception of God and Christianity is for me. So straight like that.
Okay.
I don't know if Rilla went yet, but
straight like that. Hey man, what formed my initial perception of Christianity was going to church with my grandma at Third Baptist Church over on 95th and Ashland, and pulling out of the she served on the nursing board, and then we pull out the parking lot on Sunday. So somebody cut off, she cussing them out. we just pulled out, like Reverend Fowler just delivered a fire and brimstone sermon. She amped up. And soon we make that left going down Ashland, man. And somebody cut off, man, and she cussing them clean out. And then we get back to the block, and I had an aunt that stayed across the street from us, and she went to the same church too, and she was on the, I forget what board, she was on the mother's board, and man, they would be gossiping, going back and forth, all of them on the phone, talking to Mabel, talking to Sister Betty, Sister Helen, so on and so forth. And then keep in mind, I also grew up where I grew up. If you walk over to Michigan on 107 in Michigan, there's 4 churches on one block. 4 churches. There's like 3 storefront churches, and then 1 old church that was converted into a Baptist church that's been there for years. And the neighborhood still looks the way that it looks. So that was my initial perception. What corrected my perception in terms of what I view Christianity today is an encounter that I had with a young dude that I went to school with, who was just like on fire for God. We was probably about 17, 18 years old. This dude was on fire, and he would preach anywhere. We would go to parties and be riding the bus to the north side, and he preaching on the back of the bus. We'd be riding the L into the city, he preaching on the L. And I just had no idea how this dude could do this. So I had to figure out or find out like who was feeding him all this information. And so when I started getting the information and doing the knowledge for myself, that's what corrected my perception of Christianity.
Cool. Now, the reason why I asked is because, this, well, we can get into the part about Dietrich Haddon and his wife. We're gonna get to that pretty shortly. So, and I'm building some commentary for the kind of the things that you all are kind of describing, so are talking about. And I know for me, when I saw the video, I think I had mixed reviews in the beginning, but then I started to think about, because really you sent this to me, I didn't know, what I'm saying, and I started thinking about like what would I do if I was in that situation, or if I would be in that situation, right? And so, but before we get there, I want to know, how do you know if someone is even a Christian? Because we have our perceptions of Christianity, right? Every one of us have said what they are. So how would you know if someone is a Christian? And we're just dialogue. Anybody can go.
I mean, I would know based on how they move for real, right? So like let's say it was a teammate and he wouldn't indulge himself in the jokes we had going on between plays, or it's all about how they carry themselves for real. You know what I mean? And it also holds some of us who claim to be, or are also believers, accountable. Just by his, his actions and how he moved. Like, if you don't, I never heard this dude swear, or I never heard this dude kind of, get into these different kind of things that that we're probably wayward on. You know what I mean? So those are the real kind of ways. Only other way is to really like getting those deep conversations with people. You know what I mean? And that comes with being vulnerable and relationship at that point. So that's how I would know. Other than that, I mean, there's really no way to really tell who's a Christian and who's not. You know what I mean? You just
I
go
ain't
with
gonna
it.
lie to you. For me, I've given up trying to even evaluate that, right?
Mm.
Because you have some people that, um, profess Christ or claim to be Christian or whatever. They identify as Christian, and most of what either comes out of their mouth doesn't line up. So then you have to go by their deed. And I agree with Prototype. Like, yeah, you have to go by their actions. But I've given up on even trying to evaluate who is and who isn't, or what constitutes them being a Christian or not. If you say you're a believer, you're a believer.
Yeah, I believe it's all about actions, right? You look at a person's action, how they move, the results in their life, and how they affect other people, right? Because again, it's a contradiction in terms, right? They say you saved by grace and faith, but the Most High said that in the Old Testament said that faith without works is dead. You see what I'm saying? So it's a bunch of contradictions in that thing. Um, I just think people move. I think people should be judged by how they move, not what they say. Right? Because people can say again, we all understand. People get emotional, your feelings get involved, right? Until I see you do it, or I see it, it's just you talking.
Mhm. I agree. I agree with like the word says, you'll know them by the fruits that they bear. So like you saying like I believe God, but you're out here twerking, you're like, okay, I'm confused. So it's definitely about action. It's about when you do encounter Christ, it's supposed to be a transformative lifestyle that comes with that takes you and sets you apart from the world or wherever the life that you used to live. So it is supposed to be a transformation, and that everyone can see by either your energy, your words, and your impact.
Yeah, I'd say for me, it would have to be both, um, because you have to profess that Jesus is Lord. Like, and once you do that, then that sets the cheap part of it, right? The next part is the actions. So to me, both of those have to add up. But I must say it, you have to say it, because if you see somebody eating a tomahawk steak, that's on them, right? But if you see somebody who said that they're a vegan eating that tomahawk steak, that's a different ball game, because what they said isn't matching up to their actions. So once you say it, then hey, then there's a certain level of accountability. But then I'll say, how does one know? For me, I'll know whenever you bring up that standard, the standard of the law, and you bring it up to them, and you ask for, hey, the transgression in which they made, and see how they react to it. For example, the situation with David, when Nathan tells him the story, and David was like, oh, who is that person? That person's got to die. And he's like, that person was you. And then he's like, oh man, I messed up. And he took ownership of that after the fact. So for me, whenever there is a certain way that you walk, a certain way that you move, and if your actions don't add up to those, then you're not doing it. If you're supposed to be doing a tango, and the next thing you know, you over there doing the two-step, talking about your tango, and it just doesn't add up. So it does take knowing that a person believes in these things, and them confessing and saying that they believe in these things, then you could hold them to that particular standard. Because just like a friend who says, hey, I want to do this, accomplish this goal, I want to lose weight, I want to get this job, and every last thing you see them doing is going in the opposite direction of what they told you they want to do, you have to say something.
Also, just to jump in, sometimes it depends on where a person is in their walk as well, because you may be just encountering a babe or somebody that just used to party every time, and now they have to get over that habit. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes there's babes, and they just have to learn how to walk and crawl and get over that hump of those things that they used to do that they know that doesn't necessarily please God.
Yeah, to me that would be like day two of saying you're going to go to the gym, and you went on day one, and then day two, like you want to meander around like you're not going to the gym. I'm gonna say something like, hey, like, you going? And as for that, like, that in itself is going to then toggle their mind if this is really for them. Like, that is that lifestyle really. And in this, for example, if whenever you like really what you were saying about your friend, like from a young age, he walked different. And most of the times, was it y'all having to say, hey, like, you not adding up, or was he the one bringing y'all's actions to y'all's attention?
No, he was usually calling us out while he was doing everything with us. He was like Sharif in Men's to Society, man. He wasn't participating in the debauchery in full. He was there. He seen stuff, but he wasn't participating. But here's the other thing that I'm conflicted about, because when you break this out, it's really the only. This is why I said I've given up on even trying to figure out who a Christian is. Because if you say you Christian, if I'm not in fellowship with you, if I'm not in koinonia with you, cool. I don't have any jurisdiction over you, right? So if you say you're a believer and I see you smoking a cigarette, okay, cool. That's what you do. You doing what you do, right? And I think because a lot of times I don't want to go too deep with it. I'm conflicted on that part, and that's why I just even stopped trying to figure out and focus on taking the beam out of my own eye first.
Exactly.
Those who I'm in fellowship with, you absolutely right, Dwayne. Those who I'm in fellowship with, I have every right to hold that gentleman accountable. Whether he's a believer or not, I actually have a right to hold that gentleman if I'm in fellowship with you. But if I'm not your covering, if I'm not your shepherd, if we're not in fellowship, you say you're a believer. I see you on the street, Dwayne. You say, hey, man, I'm a believer. Hey, I'm a believer too, man. All right, cool. You might see me cutting up on these YouTube streets, man.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make me any less a believer?
Well, see, and I think that's where the grace comes in, because I was thinking to myself, like, from a biblical standpoint, how many times, like, if you had to, like, do the whole Venn diagram of how many times Jesus had to, like, was he telling sinners about themselves, or was he telling the righteous people about themselves? Like, if we had to then balance that out, I think there's a higher percentage or a higher account where Jesus is telling the people that think they got it all together, he's telling them about themselves more than he's telling the sinners about themselves, as he's fellowshipping with the sinners. And these other people over there, like, scoffing their face, like, he shouldn't be doing that. But I think that's the realness about it that attracts me to it as well. He wasn't over there with all the religious people, doing what the religious people do. No, he was there communing and having a relationship with these people, and I think that's what makes the difference. From
let me, because you just touched on something about with Jesus, and it brought to mind. I was just listening to 1K Fuel yesterday, right? He had a verse, bro, so cold. He said, when I got my call from God, it wasn't a conference call. Let that marinate. When I got my call from God, it wasn't a conference call.
Direct.
Yeah. And I think a lot of us, we try to step in place of God and make these judgments. We can pull up people to the side in love. You know what I'm saying? But as far as this judgment stuff, as far as God condemning you, that's the only person that can condemn you. The only thing we can do is separate ourselves from behaviors like that, but still deal in love. And that's what I think a lot of people have wrong. And that's why I think a lot of people get turned off, because they automatically met with the judgment part and not necessarily the grace part, which Jesus would exemplify to them way before we do. We're on the judgment right off the bat. You know what I'm saying? And then, like you said, turning left and cussing, leaving the parking lot. So God talks to us because he knows that we can fall just like the sinner. You know what I'm saying? And even Paul was like, I got a war going on with me. I know to do right, but my flesh wants to do something else. So we're not exempt from anything. That's my take.
So as we build to it, who in your mind is not? Well, let me put it like this: you all are saying that people need to do as they say and say what they do, right? I would say that would be anybody, right? That's not just a connection to Christianity. You know what I'm saying? I would say that's a connection to you just being a good person, right? Or a person, an upstanding person that does exactly what they say they're gonna do, right? So with that being said, I think it's gonna be a short answer, but my question is, who do you know that's not hypocritical? Who do you know that's not hypocritical?
I think everybody
At some point.
At some point, yeah. Sometime in their life, everybody then, went back on something they said they wasn't gonna do and did it. Said they wasn't gonna put up with something, you put up with it. It's all depending on the situation. I think what people look for in most, like, and shout out to what Rilla said, the covenant you had with God is between you and him, not you and nobody else, right? But the thing is that making adjustments is part of life. Making adjustments is part of life. Sometimes you got to go back on what you said to get what you need done. I think it's the consistency of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think it happens to anybody, but I mean, I look at it like this, right? Say you got a family member that's always messing up. You know what I'm saying? You got to, like, you're going to look at them different than a person who fall and get back up and it never happened to them again. You know what I'm saying? So I just think it's the consistency of it, right? Most people, I believe personally, that most people are good people. Most people want to do the right thing. Most people try to be honest, but life happens. You know what I mean? And it's all about adjustments. Now, people want to say, well, it's just an adjustment. You want to minimize it. No, if you did something you said you wasn't going to do, that's you being a hypocrite. And a lot of people just believe it don't apply to them because they in that certain situation, but it applies to everybody. I try my best not to be a hypocrite, but to say it don't happen sometimes, I'll be lying. I try my best not to. Right? I like to say I'm not a hypocrite on a day-to-day basis. That's what I like to say. Right? So.
Anybody else? What you got? Who do you know that's not a hypocrite?
It's one of those things. I mean, for me, that I think it's unfair that everybody expect Christians to not have any flaws. And your whole Christians like, oh, but you're cussing. Like I'm saying, like, yeah, you heard this sermon, but you're cussing as soon as we hit the corner. You know what I mean? Or the pastor, did something, and people could be, get hurt from things that happened that they seen in church from years ago. And it's all kind of wild, but I think everybody's looking for some type of good. Like, man, if we believe that everybody's bad, you know what I mean? I think it doesn't motivate people to even change. So I think people are looking for the change. So they put, oh, this person's a Christian, and I'm looking for nothing but goodness from this person. You know what I mean? And it kind of messes up their hope, their light. And I think that's kind of where it comes from.
The thing is, you're not supposed to put your confidence in man. That's what the word says. You're supposed to put it in God. So as much as Humble Dad may be nice, as much as Ricky may be nice, he might say something about me on YouTube. Like,
yeah,
oh, that girl's supposed to be a Christian. She got her boobs out. It doesn't, you know what I'm saying? We put, like you're saying, we put our expectations in the wrong thing. yes, we have our brothers and sisters, the people that we fellowship with, but for me to put that expectations on them like that, like everything that I rest in is you, and if you fall off now, I'm blaming everybody else in the church. You know what I'm saying? That's not where we're supposed to put our hope and our faith in. We're supposed to put that in God, actually. Everyone is a hypocrite. You know, I believe, except Christ, I believe that he lived a perfect life. And that's basically it for
How can
me.
he live a perfect life when he was a man?
He was a
That's
man.
that's
Go
that's
ahead.
what made him, because him being perfect is important to Christianity. You know what I'm saying? So even though he was a man, he lived a perfect life. It's
Yeah.
I understand, because I understand how you just asked that question, but he
He
has
had
to
to
be
live a
perfect for it to
perfect
work.
life because he had to be the perfect sacrifice. It wasn't about him being perfect in our eyes. His mission was to die on the cross for the sins of the world. So he had to live a perfect life to be that perfect sacrifice. He was the fulfillment of the Old Testament,
To
where
atone for
they
the sins. Yeah.
sacrificed lambs and rams because you sinned. Oh, I gotta bring my lamb and ram. But this
this
was
what
that
I'm
one-time sacrifice
this
for
what I'm
everybody.
this what I'm talking about, the contradictions within the very book we believe.
Okay, so go ahead. Say
What
it
do you
again.
mean?
Right?
Yeah, say it again.
So listen to what I'm saying, right?
Go ahead.
If God was right in the first place, there would be no need for him to send his son back to get killed. The entire hold on, just give me
Go
a
ahead.
second, right? The entire premise of the Bible is that God was always right. Right? When he said it was going to flood, it was going to flood. When he said he was going to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah, he was going to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. Right? So if the first law, the Old Testament, was correct, why? So God was wrong in his first laws?
No, that's not saying God was wrong.
No, it wasn't second.
God gave us free will. He wanted us to choose him. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't a I'm wrong in making you. He just gave us free will to be. He wanted to be loved, not by force, but by choice. And I think we all have that, right? Like, who wants to be loved because all I do is provide? I think that's what men have a problem with, right? You only love me because I got money. You know what I mean? We don't want to be loved like that. We want to be loved because you genuinely love us for who we are. You know what I'm saying? So that's why he gave us free will, so he could be loved for who he genuinely is as a good God. You know what I'm saying? So that's my analogy to help you understand that.
Yeah, and also, when he created everything, he said it was good, right? But if we didn't have that opposition that was there, which made it hard because it took our dominion, it took that perfect state in which we had, and in that free choice, we chose to step away. He loved us enough to bring us back to that life of dominion
Through
and
Jesus, right?
peace and
Through
perfect life
Jesus,
through Jesus Christ,
right?
through that sacrifice. And so that was that purpose of Christ coming and having to live that life, even though it was hard. It wasn't like he just walked through. People wanted to kill him, stone him, spit on him, pull out his beard, saying like, who's this dude? You know what I'm saying? He had a lot of opposition. So, but he knew his purpose and what he had to do for prototype to live a perfect life and have grace and always, you know what I'm saying, have that powerful dominion life that we had with the first Adam. So that was the purpose, not so much that he was perfect, it was what he had to be perfect for, that sacrifice.
Yeah. To add on to that, I mean, it's a segue because I'm gonna come back. So in the Old Testament, what was going on is that they were sacrificing the first of the flocks and things, and the sheep, the goat, the lambs, and so it was something that they had to do on a regular basis, and so it was a yearly thing for the priest to make these sacrifices for the sins of everyone that was in their particular jurisdiction, if you will. And so it's not that it changed. It's not that there was a change. It was that so that that Jesus was the perfect sacrifice, and that there would not have to be another one. That's what the purpose of Jesus coming and being a perfect man, so that we can also have an example to look toward to see how he did it. So, because if you read through the Gospels, that's really what's going on. Is him showing how he was able to overcome different temptations, how he was able to also dialogue with the people that, as a leader for him, it was, one-on-one connection with his disciples, as well as his brothers and his sisters and his mom and his dad. And so he was the ultimate example, really, is what was going on in the New Testament. So as we transition, the thing about it is that everybody is a hypocrite, right? But then there comes a time that we have to formulate our thoughts and opinions about a person, though.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because if you're going by the text, or if you're just talking about who am I going to hang out with and who I'm not going to hang out with, we got to judge them by how their actions are. I think Ricky had alluded to that. So I want to talk about what was your thoughts on the pastor. Rilla said he's going to accept everybody. If they say that they're a Christian and they out here doing God knows what, I can only say that they're Christian because of what they say. However, that's a contradiction to what Ricky is saying, because you know them by the fruit that they bear, right? And what it is that they are given on the outside. So I don't know who's familiar with Dietrich Haddon. I am. I go way back. But what's your thought about his wife twerking on him saying he's a pastor? Well, I think he is a pastor, if I'm not mistaken. And his wife twerking on him. Context is that they was at a birthday party, and it was his 50th birthday party, and she started twerking on him. It seemed like they enjoyed themselves. So, but what is your thought in seeing that? I'm gonna come to you, Ricky, because you said you was kind of. I think you said you had two different thoughts on it.
I'm torn on it.
So give me that thought process on it.
Like I said, I think it's because that's his wife. You know what I'm saying? I think that's his wife. I think it's between them two. But what I'm not impressed with, or what tears me, is the example that they're setting. Right? Y'all heard what I said. Some things are meant, like, everything ain't for clicks and everything ain't for clout. There's some things you got to keep to yourself. Right? So again, like, I'm just being honest. If I could be totally transparent, which I always am. I don't know why I keep saying that. It's just something to say. Like, you like you said, we all hypocrites, right? But it's different. It's different when I'm not gonna say it's different. It's looked at different. That's what I should say. The optics is different, right? When you supposed to be an example, not of this world. You know what I'm saying? They're participants, active participants of the very thing that you were supposed to be fighting against. Right? That's where the problem come in. Is it appropriate for them? Yeah, it's appropriate for them if they was in a privacy or they own home or private woo woo woo, right? But you just like the rest of them out here. That's what it looked like to me. It's like you just like the rest, especially like. And y'all know I got a problem with the black church. I have a serious problem with the black church. Right? It's the biggest. Look, this is not me trying to offend anyone. This is just off my personal experience. Why do my monitors keep going to sleep? Hold on, y'all. Sorry, y'all. My personal experience. The black church takes from the community and never gives back. They never give back. Same church been there. I know a church in Chicago. I ain't been there since I'm 50 years old. I bet you if I go back there, the stove's still the same stove that was in there. Y'all done had a building fund for 50 years and the building's still raggedy. And why is it that when it's black folks in trouble, and I can attest to this. I stay in a predominantly white city, Rochester, Minnesota. When black people in trouble, they can't go to the black church for financial help. No. They got to go to a white church. Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. It's a hustle. It's like, I don't care what. Look, God, your relationship with God is your relationship with God. You do not. I don't need a third party. But so again, yes, it's hypocritical. Like HD said, we all hypocrites. But again, y'all got people up under y'all looking. And y'all of this world the same way those people are. So that's all I get. It's just a bad look, honestly. What they doing is not wrong, but the optics is really bad. That's what I'm saying.
I see you on your take. Hey, who got next?
I agree with Ricky, and that's why he has this sentiment, because a lot of people are looking for hope. A lot of people are looking for something that is higher than them, that they want to aspire to. But if we have so-called leaders that are out here giving optics, which is appropriate for them because they are married and there's nothing undefiled about them. But the thing is, let's remove it from Diedrich and his wife. Let's put it with TD Jakes and his wife. How would you see them? Let's put it with such and such. Let's put it all across the board. It's not a good look for people that are supposedly, as he said, are supposed to preach against these vices that, lead us to fornication, that lead us to, immorality. So it's definitely, we have to, as leaders, need to really rethink, certain things. But I'm also torn too, because it's like, it's his 50th birthday. So a lot of people don't make it. Humble dad, you're getting ready to have a wedding. What if somebody said, and if your wife just so happens to dance on you, what would you say if somebody talked about you on the most happiest day of your life? So I get a little mixed feelings on that, because I would want to enjoy my time with my man or whatever, but I would definitely be highly considerate, maybe not go extreme, you know what I'm saying? But, we do have to be careful if we're leaders.
That's what's up. Prototype, what you got on it? Then we'll come to you, Dwayne.
I mean, I feel the same as Rick, right? So within their own home, you know, I think because you do have such a microscope on you, you got to be careful about how you move. You can't, if you're a proclaimed pastor, you can't cause other people to, don't do anything that will cause anybody else to sin, right? And I think that's biblical. Um, so that's kind of how you have to kind of hold. You got to move, and it's hard to do such. I think they're within their right. I know me personally, like I got some bucket list items that you know what I mean that are off the chain that are very. I don't know if it's Christian or not. You know what I mean, but um, I'm not mad at it. People shouldn't be making a big thing about it, but at the same time, you got to be careful about holding yourself a certain way. When that camera on you, you know what I'm saying? Especially when you got a lot of people following, you know what I mean? Like it's kind of like the athlete saying, I'm not a role model, or you know what I mean? When people are looking at you. I mean, I understand you're just a person, but you got a lot of people looking to be where you're at, man. And you gotta hold that with some respect. So
It's on you, Dwayne.
Uh, um, go ahead if you'd like to go watch school.
She already
I
went.
already
Where
did.
was you at, bro?
Oh, okay. No, I thought somebody chimed in. My bad. Yeah. It's interesting because um, Matthew 7, it says, "Judge not, lest ye be judged." And sometimes people think that it says "judge not," period. Like it's a comma, and it then goes on. So, "Judge not, lest ye be judged. For the same measure in which you measure someone else, it will be used to measure you." So in that, it's like as for your actions, if you're sitting there telling them again, like I go back to that vegan eating the steak. If you sitting there talking about don't eat meat, next thing you know, you catch them with a big. I'm talking about the tomahawk steak, right? The one with the big old bone, with the big old, and you see them just snacking on it. Like something's wrong. Like that's hypocrisy. So, but then in it, it's like I am to judge. And the blessing for me is I have a righteous judge who is showing me what is good and what is bad. The thing for me in this instance is he telling people they're not supposed to be doing this? Is he talking about these things are bad and wrong and all this? If he's telling people and talking about it, then yeah, I'd see then he would be a hypocrite for doing that. If he's out there telling people not to do it. But the thing is, he is married, and that is his wife. And yes, it is a public setting. I get that, right? I get that. I would have more problem with it if that was another woman that was not his wife doing it to him in public. So in that, I can extend grace to him, as I'm not judge. No, was he in church? Was he in the church? Was he in the pulpit? So if he was, if he wasn't doing, like, because again, like, sometimes people just pull out their camera phone and ready to record and stuff they ain't got no business recording. So in that, like, they're just probably having a good time. I don't know. Like, my Bible doesn't tell me thou shalt not twerk on your husband. Like, Song of Solomon doesn't say that.
Oh, that book of Song of Solomon, bro.
You know, Solomon, come on now. Y'all
Yes,
act like
sir.
y'all be some monks.
Really like that book. Really
And,
like that.
nuns up here. No way.
You finished, Dwayne?
That made good. I got to give Dwayne. That makes great sense, Dwayne. I agree
Come
with
on.
your point.
I appreciate
your point.
That's what's up. Really, can you do something with it? I mean, we having the topic because of you.
Man.
You're like hot, bro. You're like hot.
Oh, is it? My mic is hot.
Yeah, no, you good. Go for it.
You
No, he's saying it's
now.
coming in loud. Oh.
Yeah, we're coming in loud. You good now?
Oh, I don't know why. No, man. I got so many thoughts on this. I'm biased because I did work for bro. You know what I'm saying? And I was with him when he was with his first wife. Right. So and I still, go chat back and forth with her every now and again. If you know anything about Dietrich Haddon, he's always been like out the box, way left. Whatever you think gospel is, he's gonna do the opposite of it, right? And so I agree with Slick Rick. The optics of it is just not good, man. We talking about the man of God, right? And I know, and this is the thing, we're having flowery conversation around it, but I think this is also why a lot of black men tend to leave the church. So we don't stand on it. That's the man of God, bro. Like, that's where I'm at with it. That's the man of God. Did you see what the wife was wearing? Right? The scriptures say the bed is undefiled. They weren't in bed, fam. Right? So the optics of it, like Prototype was saying, don't do something that'll cause a stumbling block to your brother. Right? And this ain't me judging because he ain't my covering, so I don't really, he's not my shepherd, he's not my pastor, so I don't have that, judgment for him. But just on the outside looking in, I was just like, dang. And then if you look at the spin move after the PR damage control, it wasn't even really no damage control. If you look at the social media posts, like, you need to get you a wife that's gonna twerk on you. I know that's right, Pastor. Yup, she should. Show enough. So now, hey, Slick Rick, you remember Vampires in Brooklyn with Eddie Murphy and Angela Bassett? Remember when he was the preacher outside and he was saying, evil is good?
Yes, I remember that. Mm-hmm.
We in a world now where we saying right is wrong, left is right, up is down, evil is good. Right now, call it out, Doc. You the man of God. Now, I gotta go in church Sunday and think about your wife Tig old bitties, or think about how your wife was shaking on you. Not me. I'm just saying, the brothers that may be coming to their congregation or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, the optics of it is just all types of bad, man. It's just all types of bad. And I get it. Like, it's almost like believers want to be accepted and validated by the world so much they emulate everything they do, and they're supposed to be a distinct separation. That's why they don't know. What's the difference? What's the difference between me and you? You dress like me, you look like me, you talk like me, you drink like me, you smoke like me, you fornicate like me, you cuss like me. What's the difference? And that's just the believers. That's why Prototype was saying, I think it's unfair how Christians, the expectation of a Christian, right? How they get lumped in and there's this higher expectation. Yeah, there's a high calling there. So then you stack on top of that the man of God, who's responsible for leading a flock, right? Like, that's just, to me, I had so many feelings on it, bro. I was just like, that's why I hit you. Like, I know you gonna speak on this, bro. I know you gonna talk about this next week. Like, that's. I just wanted to hear your perspective on it, because to me, it goes deeper than the wife twerking. It's the reason why you can have. I hope I don't get your channel demonetized, but it's the reason why you can have fun boys leading worship service in the choir. Some of them preaching from the pulpit. Next thing we're gonna see is transmissions in the church.
It's already there.
But you understand what I'm saying? Because we're supposed to love everybody. So because we won't stand on nothing,
yeah,
we won't stand for him. Again, to me, this is Ricky's disdain with the black church. I know he wasn't saying this explicitly. He was talking about how they take more from the community, but I think that black men, and particularly if you was on the street, they know a good con when they see it. They know a con when they see it, right?
I think even still from a young perspective, like as a young man who's masculine or whatever, there's nobody to identify with in the church. You know what I'm saying? Like as a man, I would like to be like, you know what I mean? Because you see nothing but fun boys, or transmissions, or it's
because a lot of the brothers have left.
Yeah, I mean,
Kevin Samuels one time he did a program. He did a perfect breakdown on why black, and this is humble that hopefully you can answer this one day or do a show on it or get to the bottom why so many black men have left the church and are they coming back.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple studies on it. I mean, one is that it's pretty, it's a lot of, it's feminized. One, whether it's from the music to the feel good sermons, not really holding people accountable. It's kind of like really catered towards the women, right? I didn't know if you finished, but that's the part that's been.
I know that's part of it because that's part of what Kevin Samuels was saying when he did his breakdown, and he was talking about how men are not finna sit up there and wrestle for your affection between you loving the pastor more than you love your husband. You put the pastor over your husband. You know what I mean? So, man, I mean, I get it. It's just, anyway, back to Dietrich. It's a very, to me, it's a bad look. It may be a good look for his church because a lot of people are on this progressive stuff. You can get in the pulpit, dress how you want to dress, say what you want to say. Used to be there was a reverence for God, so you show up in the pulpit a particular way, whether that was with the robe, and they said, no, you don't need a robe. You just need a business suit. Now you don't need a business suit. You just need jeans and some Jordans and a suit jacket. Next thing you know, there's going to be some booty shorts and a brassiere.
Well, we're not. I mean, if you read the word, I'm not really surprised about any of this because he already told us. He said that there's going to be sheep and goats coming up together, and then eventually he's going to do the separating. And that's just how it is. It's like you just got to have to work out your soul salvation, as we said, that personal relationship with God. And when he makes his judgment, when it's time for him to make his sweep through, you just better be on the side you need to be on, because at that point, it's definitely gonna categorize who's saved, who's really for God, and who's not. And that's not up to us to do that. All we have to do is live out our lives, remind people, send those gentle reminders, and then that's it. He said, who's ever unholy, be unholy still. Who's ever righteous, be righteous still. Whoever filthy, be filthy. Do whatever you want because that's what you want to do. But when I come, it ain't going to be no time to get out of your twerking at that point. So it is what it is.
Well, I think that, Dwayne, you about to say something?
Yeah. I feel a certain way about this because, even with that pastor, like, TD Jakes is another one. He said that his wife can still twerk for the Lord. Like he said that. And I remember him saying that.
I forgot to bring that up, bro.
He said that. Now I felt a certain way. And even at our church, somebody called his wife sexy, and I was at some meaning or something. And he was like, and that's my wife, my sexy wife right there. And I felt a certain way about him calling his wife sexy in front of other men. I was like, okay, I feel a certain way about that. But even in this, right, you shall know them by their fruits, by what they produce. But then again, I remember Jesus was on this cross, and there was another guy right next to him, right? And that guy, he committed some crimes, and he got to see paradise. And he didn't have to do all the works and all the extra stuff, right? He didn't have to. All he needed was faith. And at the end of the day, for me, a humbling thing for me is only God can judge their heart. Only God knows their heart, actually. Only God knows their heart. Like, I could do all the judging I want to do, and at the end of it, I get in heaven, and I'm like, what's he doing here? What's he doing here? What's she doing here? Like, what I look like? What I look like, like from that perspective. But I do get where we're coming from with this. Like, as a pastor, you are held to a higher standard. Like, even for deacons, you're held to a higher standard. Like, saw this little application. It was like, hey, do you do this? Do you do this? Do you do this? I'm like, disqualified, right? And I'm like,
yeah, you talking about the application at the church? That bad boy long, bro.
Salt, same thing. I'm like, this is but then there's a higher level of expectations as for you being able to control your wants and your desires, compared to someone who is put in that position over a flock, who has the potential to lead a whole group of people astray. So it's tough, and sin, just because, however high in position we get in this earthly position, we're not exempt from sin. We're not exempt from sin. As a matter of fact, I think you crash harder, like, whenever you are a Christian and you do fall into sin. And especially because you're going to be dragged through it, because, hey, just a simple thing, you know better, you should do better. But now you have the Holy Spirit and God the Father and Jesus on your side, and you still fail. They're going to be looking at you. So that's sort of perception of Christianity. Some people could look at it as, hey, like, you fail. But then I think that's the heart of Christianity, because it says, I didn't come here for the healthy people. Jesus said, I came here for the sick. So, like, in it, like, he's not showing up in the places where all the healthy people are. He's going to where the sick people are. So for those people who are in their right minds, like, again, I go back to really what you were saying about your friend, who are in the right mind, but you're in an environment, like, you are of a right mind, but you're in a particular environment where you can actually facilitate change from where you are. And I think for me, that's the appropriate thing, is to be able to do that. But then as for that change, you can also then change for the bad. So if you're going to do something that's going to cause your brother to backslide or to stumble, like, you shouldn't be doing it. You shouldn't be doing it. But then there are certain things that are open for you to do, if it's not going to cause somebody to slide. But it's not, it might be, somebody might put their nose up at it. That's just my 2 cents.
That's what's up.
I was wondering, why would you view him saying that his wife is sexy as something that rubs you the wrong way? Wouldn't it's sort of like you being in the house with your mom and dad, and they're jokefully playing around, and you see an example of a man that admonished his wife, you would want to do the same thing, right?
Yeah, if it was my mom and my dad, I'd probably give them the same
But
reaction.
if it's your leader that is, that is another spiritual mother and spiritual dad, and like they're trying to show you that within Christianity that I can view my wife as sexy and that she is beautiful, and that we're not monks and nuns and priests. You know what I'm saying? Like, so what's wrong?
But here's the thing, because I think words have meaning. The root word of sexy is sex,
and
men are visual.
Eyes on.
So you telling me your wife, now you can say my wife is fine, or there's my adorable wife, or there's my beautiful wife, there's my gorgeous wife. To say, I get it, I know. Just let it marinate for 1 second, wife school, because men think different. Men think different. For you take it as a compliment that your husband would tell you in front of other men, even in church, there's my sexy wife. And I may understand what that brother might have been thinking. He may have been thinking that's a compliment to his wife. Right. But in a group of men saying there go my sexy wife at church, like there go my sexy wife, I understand exactly what Dwayne's saying. No, because the root word is taking root.
It's just really interesting that you would want to sleep with a 70-year-old or 60-year-old
No.
woman?
Is
Is that how you're taking it?
No,
Because
no,
that's
no,
how
no,
I'm
no,
seeing it.
no.
Because you're saying that you're saying sex. Okay, that means what? What does that mean if he says that for you want to sleep with his wife?
No, I'm saying no. Go ahead, Dwayne. Go ahead.
No, it's just like you out with a group of your guys and like then the next one's like, damn, look at that right there, and then guess what? Y'all look right because you're spectating and people watching, but in church it's a whole different ball game. Like if you do that in church, like I'm stepping back because something about to come down and strike you, and I don't need to be anywhere in that vicinity.
I think y'all extreme with that.
It is. I'm kidding with that, but from a man's perspective, like you might not see it because you're not as visual as men are. Men are very visual. So whenever someone says, "Hey, look, sexy," like we don't call. If a dude ever call a piece of meat sexy, that would be a different. That would they're gone. But if somebody says, "Man, look at that well cooked meat right there," like that steak is cooked perfectly. I'm gonna look and be like, man, oh yeah, you did that. But like if he's talking about his wife, I don't want to look like out of respect. Like and there's that thing. So you may mention earlier, you said, well, my boobs are out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna be honest with you. And I'm saying this knowing my wife is most likely gonna watch this.
Mm-hmm.
I have to actively focus whenever I'm talking to females at their eyes, like actively, because I don't desire, like I'm a man, right? I'm attracted to breasts. But if I can't just be looking at every last pair of breasts, like I just can't be doing it, right? Because there's gonna be something wrong. They're gonna be like, aren't you married? They're gonna be looking at me kind of different. Like, aren't you married? I just can't. Okay. So in this instance, like if somebody talk about my sexy wife over there, that's a challenge right there, brother. And I ain't looking. I'm gonna pass this challenge.
Right. Like I said, I think the biggest thing is the example that was meant to be set. It's just a bad look. Like I said, I agree. I totally agree with a little bit of what everybody said. I just think it's just another bad look. That's all. That it's just that simple. Like it's a bad look. It's not. I mean, if churches, right? If churches are not, or a pastor especially, right? A man that supposedly has a reverence with God and an understanding with God more than the men up under him, because you are leading them. Just imagine your boss taking a 15-minute break every 5 minutes. Right? You're going to look at him different, even though you understand he a man, right? He kind of come to work just like you, right? But if your boss ain't getting the job done, what you going to do? You're going to be like, man, it's good for me too. Right? So again, while I don't think particularly do I think the coupling, that's his wife, it's nothing wrong with it. It looks bad. It's bad. It sets a bad example. And again, if the church is not meant to be an example, what are they here for? To take your money, to convince you of something that isn't that it is. If they're not here to set the example, what are they here for?
I agree.
That's a good point. I think this has been really good dialogue. I just wanted to know y'all perspectives. My perspective is that it's hard to imagine being in the scenario, because I'm thinking like, what is it going to be like on wedding day, right? Because I'm seen as pretty high in the church that I was in. You know, I'm moving churches and whatnot, but in my lady, she likes to dance. I mean, she grew up dancing, you know. Is she gonna twerk on me? I have no idea. I'm sure she thought about it though, right? How will people view it? I'm sure people have mixed feelings about it, right?
So you're not getting the garter belt either, then? You're not doing that. You better let that woman, do her thing on your wedding day, dog. What are you talking about, man?
For sure. That's what I'm saying. That's why I thought it was a very interesting dialogue, especially with what's coming up, and specifically how people view me. You know, y'all think that I'm known here on some of the YouTube spaces. I'm pretty well known in my church, even more. Yeah. Would you say, Dwayne? And so But at the same time, I want to have fun, and it's like, okay, is that the only way that you can have fun? Because that's the question as well, you know. And for me, I think at the end of the day, it's definitely optics, right? If it what is time and place and situation, right? It's like it's sports, right? What's the down and distance? What's the time? Like what we doing, right? He was at a birthday party with his wife, and she was twerking on him. I think the aftermath in which he should have handled it is what's messed up, in my opinion. So what I'm saying is, okay, yes, you're free to do that. Then explain that to the people. Right? Say, you know, it was my birthday. We were having fun, you know, and she was dancing on me. You know what I mean? You should probably commend my wife for wanting to even share that type of love with me. I don't know, you know what I'm saying? Or just say, okay, maybe it was wrong of me to do. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Don't be flaky with it. You know what I'm saying? That I think that's what the thing of it is. That Diedrich had didn't really take us. He didn't really take a predominant stand to have an opportunity to explain from a biblical perspective what was going on. Because I would wonder what they did at these parties and these weddings that was going on. I mean, Jesus turned water into wine. You know what I mean? Like, what was going on at these weddings? Were they not dancing? Were they not dancing
They
together?
weren't working.
We don't know that because dancing period on with another person, you're gonna be dancing with another person, and twerking goes back just longer than more than a century. You know what I'm saying? African, the way that we dance is in Africa, they have some very gyration type movements. Okay. So and they may not have been on anybody, but they definitely was very much in the open. So is what I'm saying. So what I'm overall saying is like to twerk or not to twerk. I think that if he's gonna do it, he should have said no cameras. You know, like, hey, listen, if it's gonna be one of those type of things, then people listen. I would appreciate that you don't film it because remember, like Ricky said, the optics is you are on, and then somebody else said you're on a different level. Like you're up here, and you're ministering to a congregation. So the way people are going to see it and then how you came back and said, you know what? Oh, Dietrich was the one that posted it. Oh, wow. So he was even impressed by his moves.
His abilities. You know
Oh,
what? I don't think you can ever please anybody, whether you're a leadership or just a regular person.
but I
At my
disagree. I
wedding,
disagree. I disagree.
at
I
my
disagree.
wedding, I got talked about for just dancing with my husband.
I disagree.
So
I'm gonna
that
tell
just
you
to
what I
let you
mean by where I
say it doesn't
disagree.
matter. Like people are going to
Yeah,
say
you said
negative,
he
good,
posted it.
better too.
Yeah.
Huh?
Did he
You
post
said
it?
the deacon the one who posted that?
Yeah, that's crazy, right? Well, but what you said, what I'm saying is though, I think that people, they may not agree with you, wife school, but if
Hmm.
you are the same and consistent all the time, they know what they're getting, and so I think that people appreciate that.
I don't know. I think I try to be a consistent person. And I still like got that backlash, and I'm like, I didn't even do anything. Nobody was dancing at my wedding like that out of place. It was very controlled, and I still was talked about. So it's like you, I ain't want to cuss. It's like if you do or if you don't, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And it was just kind of disheartening because I tried to be, decent, not. I don't even know how to twerk. Okay. So even in that, trying to express my love with my ex-husband,
yeah,
it was still, that was, disheartening to knowing that people were talking about my special day.
yeah. I
So
see what you mean by that. Like,
yeah.
but in this scenario, he posted it, and therefore it just gave him more clicks and more not
Yeah.
opportunity to
I
talk
don't
about.
think Jesus really cared anyway, because even in the past, when I used to watch the Real House or the Preachers of LA or whatever, he
A clout
really
chase.
believed in shacking. So I wouldn't even put this Turkin past him because he believed in,
Come on, man.
all that before marriage and stuff.
Come on,
So
man.
it's
Yeah.
definitely whatever didn't come out in the wash is coming out in the rinse.
Hustler. He a hustler. That's what's
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah,
He
yeah, that's
hustling.
what it sounds
He
like.
he hustling in the name of Jesus. That's what he doing. He hustling y'all in the name of the Lord. Good God. That's what he doing.
With some music, we need some hey.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, but you know,
Yeah, very.
I think, but it's definitely important for us to not say well, we
Blasphemy.
can't judge, because that's not a true statement. We judge all the time. You decide if you're gonna go get something to eat based on the reviews. You know what I'm saying? So we judging all the time,
Yeah,
and you
it
decide
said
who
we
you
can
want.
judge but make righteous judgment. That's what it actually
Correct.
says.
Absolutely.
Make
So
righteous judgment. Yeah.
so yeah, and so that's what we're doing now, is trying to say to Dietrich and his wife, you're cool to do whatever, but pay attention to when it is that you do it, because you have a flock that you're leading, and those that are leading and teaching are held more accountable than the
Yes.
followers, you know. So
Yeah.
it's been a real good conversation. I appreciate the time that y'all have given me, you know, and until next time, hey, don't forget to check out the wife school. She's doing her thing, being consistent over there. And then you got Prototype that comes on Tuesday nights at 9 o'clock. No, it's 8 o'clock Central, but 9 o'clock Eastern.
Yeah.
And him and his homies are always talking about dads and how dads can be better. And then you got Rilla, who's gonna be off of line for a while, but you can catch him in different spaces. He finally was a man of his word and not a hypocrite, and came on the show. You know what I'm saying? And then you got Dwayne, and go check him out, Dwayne Photography. If y'all see the pictures that I posted on Facebook or even on Instagram, Dwayne took those pictures. Shout out to my homie. And then
Good work, dude.
Uncle Rick, always, man. Appreciate you, homie. We talk for real in real life. You know what I mean? And it's been real, been dope. And next time you'll see me, I have a wedding band on. I'll be like, really. That's it, man. Until next time, we out here. Deuces.
The boy is dangerous.
Bad feeling about this. You don't seem to understand something.
The thing that I like most about being a dad is that I see that I'm about to impact the world.